Well, hello, this is Sunday night, and we're now entering week 6, and I thought I'd try to take the chance to re-record a message. I was going to leave the old one up and said, boy, it's been 90 degrees all day, and if they see me in a sweater, then they'll know it's a leftover, and I didn't think that was the appropriate thing to do, so here we are doing some new recording tonight. But what I really wanted to talk about was where, as usual, where we've been this week and where we're going and where I see things shaping up. And so first, let me back up a little bit and talk about, again, the very good and very lively and active discussion that's been going on. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. It is actually very easy for me. This has been great. All I have to do is ask one question, and you guys pick it up and run with it and come up with some very interesting ideas. Interesting things get discussed. This week we spent a lot of time talking about the maturity of industries, maturity of companies, and maturity of markets. I thought it was particularly interesting when someone mentioned that online education itself was a real innovation in a mature industry. Boy, talk about a mature industry. Higher education, been around since time immemorial, it seems. We go back to the great medieval universities. So it's a new world and a new life, and it's transforming everything that we do. And it's just a fabulous example of how innovation, how adaptation, how companies and businesses and whole industries adapt to realities in what's going on. And I thought you guys were doing just a really good job with it. Okay. This week, what we're going to do, it's going to go ahead, and I keep using the phrase in the written material that the videos are all over the lot, and they really are. But we're going to talk more on innovation. You'll see something on that. You have also in there a series of videos by a gentleman by the name of Edvard de Bono, and he's done an awful lot of work on literally the science and practice of creativity. How do you become more creative? Can you be creative? Can you teach creativity? Very interesting guy, and I think he's someone you want to listen to as you go forward in your projects. The other thing that I put in there, I apologize a little bit for the quality, but you'll see another short video about mergers and acquisitions. Because remember, essentially you are dealing with a merger here. And it's a crash course, essentially, if you come away with nothing else except the terminology that's used in mergers and acquisitions. That's great. Do apologize for the quality of the video. He's standing out on a bridge in Switzerland, I believe. So there's a lot of background noise and it may be a little hard to understand, but it was one of the best condensed crash courses I could find in everything you need to know about mergers in order to do this project without it turning into a finance course. So I think you'll find that valuable. Also, a few words about the project, and then you'll find that there's also a couple times in here I decided to go ahead and include the same intro video that I did last year because it's still appropriate. But your project, I'm getting some questions from people as to what's going on. Not a lot, and it's pretty typical. I see activity from some groups, slower activity from others. This is typical. This is right where I expect it to be. The only thing you have to remember is now we've only got 3 weeks left, weeks 6, 7, and 8. And some of the questions I know I'm going to get as they come up, even though I think I've answered them already, I'm going to try to head them off right now. Like, gee, Professor, what form should it take? What do you want? Like I said, I'm being extremely obnoxiously difficult about this. Whatever you want it to be. Whatever you think it needs to be. Just remember, you're developing a high-level strategy and you're presenting it to a high-level group. That's the roles you need to play. That's what you need to do. And we're about at the point where by the end of this week and the beginning of next, you're going to be introduced to an assignment, one written assignment, individual, that's going to be quite interesting, I think, and really, really have a lot of bearing on what you've learned. But in order to do that assignment well, you've got to be fairly far along in your project. So please don't let it lag. I know what happens with group projects. We all hate them. We all say, oh, gee, I wish we didn't have to do this. But the truth of the matter is, that's how we do things in the business world. That's how we do things in the business of higher education. Gosh, I spent half my life in committees and saying, oh, well, if I didn't have to deal with all these other people, I could just get things done. Well, maybe there's some truth to that, but there's also a lot of truth that alone I'm not as smart as all of us together. So that's another way of looking at it. So please don't let your projects lag. Make sure you get things going. If there are questions, I mean it. Come ask me. I'll do my best to get you an answer and get you an answer right away. But it's something that I don't want you cramming into the last week and then rushing and throwing together a piece of junk just to get it done. Won't work. Okay, so again, good work on the discussion board. It's just great. It's so easy for me to just sit back and have to read and not direct and jump in. You guys are just doing a great job with it, and I can't say enough about that. Make sure you're on top of the project. Make sure that you're looking into watching the videos, using the PowerPoints, reading the chapters in the book. I haven't assigned a specific chapter this week. We'll be back doing that again next week. So, but I think you can see that all this stuff comes into play as you develop a strategic plan, a strategic direction for this new company. And I hope you're finding it beneficial and finding it to be an opportunity to put together everything you've learned so far. Okay, thanks very much. And if there's any questions, yes, you do know where to find me. Thanks again. Good night.